hasn't moved in over an hour. Its heart rate is low. Its body temperature is matched almost exactly to the ground beneath it. To a deer wandering past, there is nothing here worth noticing. And that is exactly the point. The Komodo dragon doesn't need to be fast. It doesn't need to be strong enough to overpower its prey in a single move. It only needs one bite, and then it needs to wait. What happens after that bite is one of the strangest and most effective hunting strategies in the animal kingdom. This is how it works. Komodo dragons exist naturally in only one place on the planet, a small cluster of Indonesian islands. Komodo, Rinca, Flores, and a few smaller neighbors, all part of the Lesser Sunda chain. They are the largest living species of lizard, with confirmed adults reaching up to 3 meters in length and weighing as much as 80 to 90 kilograms. Their size alone puts them in a category with almost no natural predators once they reach adulthood. On these islands, an adult Komodo dragon sits at the very top of the food chain. They can run in short bursts when needed, fast enough to surprise prey at close range. But sustained speed isn't their strategy. Their bodies are built for something else. Patience, raw bite force, and a hunting method that unfolds over hours, sometimes days, rather than seconds. Komodo dragons hunt primarily by ambush. They position themselves near trails used by deer, wild pigs, or water buffalo, and rely on stillness and camouflage rather than pursuit. Their sense of smell is extraordinary. Using a forked tongue to sample airborne particles, combined with a specialized organ on the roof of the mouth called the vomeronasal organ, a Komodo dragon can detect a carcass or approaching prey from significant distances, reportedly several kilometers under the right wind conditions. When prey finally comes within range, the attack itself is short. A lunge, a bite, usually aimed at the legs or lower body to cripple the animal's ability to flee, and then, often, the dragon lets go. That single detail surprises most people. The dragon doesn't always finish the kill on the spot. Sometimes it simply bites and waits for the bite itself to do the rest of the work. For decades, the dominant theory was that Komodo dragon bites were dangerous mainly because of bacteria, that their mouths were so filled with pathogens from decaying meat that any bite would cause fatal infection. That theory has largely been revised. Research published in the late 2000s identified venom glands in the Komodo dragon's lower jaw, producing a mix of toxins that lower blood pressure, prevent clotting, and accelerate blood loss in a bitten animal. Combined with the physical damage from a serrated bite, this creates a wound that keeps bleeding, and a prey animal that keeps weakening, even after it has escaped. A large animal like a water buffalo, bitten once and allowed to run, may not die immediately. It may wander for hours, even days, growing weaker from blood loss and shock, while the dragon or several dragons, drawn in by the scent, simply follow at a distance. Eventually, the prey collapses, and when it does, the dragon is already there. Feeding is where the Komodo dragon's reputation for brutality is most visible, and where a strict social order becomes obvious almost immediately. The largest, most dominant individual at a carcass feeds first, and smaller or younger dragons wait, often at a visible distance, sometimes displaying submissive body postures to avoid conflict. Fights over carcasses do happen, and they can be violent, but they're less common than the hierarchy that prevents them. A Komodo dragon's jaw and neck muscles allow it to tear off large chunks of flesh rather than chew. Its teeth aren't built for grinding. It swallows in large sections, aided by an unusually flexible skull and throat. In a single feeding, a dragon can consume a genuinely staggering proportion of its own body weight, sometimes cited at up to 80%, which is part of why they don't need to hunt frequently. A large kill can sustain a dragon for weeks. They eat almost everything: muscle, bone, hide, and organs. Very little of the carcass is left behind. For all their size and reputation, Komodo dragons exist in a genuinely fragile position. Their entire wild range is confined to a small handful of Indonesian islands, and the total population is estimated at under 6,000 individuals. The IUCN currently lists the species as endangered, citing threats including habitat loss, human encroachment, and, increasingly, the long-term effects of rising temperatures and sea levels on the low-lying habitat that makes up much of their island range. Komodo National Park, established in 1980 and now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, remains the primary safeguard for the species, combining strict habitat protection with regulated tourism that funds conservation and local park management. That concentration is both a strength and a risk. Nearly the entire species depends on the continued protection of a relatively small, specific stretch of geography, meaning a single environmental shift, disease outbreak, or habitat disruption carries outsized consequences for the species as a whole. The Komodo dragon didn't survive for millions of years by being the fastest animal on its island, or the most aggressive. It survived by being efficient, a hunter that understood, long before any human studied it, that a single well-placed bite and a lot of patience could accomplish what raw speed never could. On Komodo Island, the deadliest hunter isn't the one that moves first. It's the one that's still there when everything else has stopped moving.